Hi, this is Lucas Myers of SoPo Seafood. Welcome to my kitchen. I've had the honor of chucking many oysters for some of you through Oyster's mobile oyster bar, and now through SoPo Seafood I can offer oysters for you to shuck at home. This video is to show you how. Come on over to my sink. I'm going to show you how to shuck an oyster by holding it in your hand. The advantage of hand shucking an oyster is that you get two directions of force. One, of course, is from your knife hand, but the other is from the hand holding the oyster. In fact, when I'm shucking an oyster, most of the force that's going to get my knife under this shell is coming from this hand pulling the oyster against the knife. A couple of tips. Get yourself a good shucking glove. I really like this glove because it's food safe, it's washable, it's flexible, and it's cut resistant. Second, get yourself a good oyster knife. This Victorinox is straight point, it's not too sharp, but it's sharp enough to wiggle under the hinge. Third, buy Maine oysters. This None Such River oyster has a hard bottom which will support the action of the knife without breaking. To get your knife under the oyster shell, it takes a wiggle. One mistake that people make often is pushing too hard with their knife. In doing so, it's dangerous, but it's also going to stab through the meat of the oyster and potentially break shells that will fall into the bottom shell. Just do a little wiggle to get into the hinge, and once there, turn the knife this way, and then you'll feel a pop of the shell. Once the shell is popped, we need to free the oyster from the top shell by cutting the abductor muscle that's up in this area. Lastly, we'll cut the abductor muscle from the bottom shell to loosen the oyster entirely. It should look like this. Wiggle in, turn it so it pops. At this point, slide your knife underneath that top shell to cut the abductor muscle right there. Now, take this knife and cut the oyster from the shell from the bottom. Sometimes you might get a little shell from the ring, brush that off. At this point, you're ready to eat. A good oyster shuck will have no shells and the liqueur will still be left. Enjoy.